Hey, everybody, welcome back to Red Road Paranormal. I almost said my old radio show name. It's the day after Christmas. It's been a couple of days, I think, for a lot of us that have just been kind of like, "Duh," you know what I mean? Like really high stress stuff. And yeah, now it's time to chill out, get back to work for a few days before the next party kicks in. I am Christina Bloom. I'm your co host. I am a professional psychic and psychic medium and the owner of Christina Bloom Spiritual Advisor, and also the co owner of Moonbow Publications and Productions, LLC. And I say that because this is produced by Moonbow Productions. So we have that going for us. I'm also the descendant of Alaskan Natives. I am not tribally affiliated. And I am here with my co host, Bobby Resnet Calkins.
Hey everyone, I'm Rez. I'm a member of the Stockbridge Munsee Band of Mohicans tribe out of Wisconsin. I'm also a paranormal and cryptid investigator with the team Cryptids and Anomalies in the Paranormal Society, and just overall good guy.
I'll vouch for that. I always forget to talk about my paranormal affiliation. I am a member of the Adirondack Park Paranormal Society out of upstate New York, even though I live in Wisconsin. So we have a New York branch and a Wisconsin branch, so it's cool. And with us today is Mr. Bill Wolter, uh,
Hello.
owner of Brodhead Manor in Brodhead, Wisconsin. His facility hosts a number of different paranormal investigations, different events at your facility. It actually hosted my son's celebration of life, which was beautiful, and it was a perfect environment for that. So thank you for that. And Bill and I have become very close friends, family. Actually, we have
I was going to
really
say it's
become
family, it's
family.
not friends.
We have become, I have yet another brother for which I am very grateful. Actually, I'm sitting here with two brothers from other mothers, which is awesome. So, Bill, welcome to the podcast. And tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you acquire this giant building in a small town in Wisconsin?
Well, going back a little bit, 6 years ago, I believe it was, we used to own a haunted house out in the middle of the woods. Uh, an attraction, a public attraction, haunted house for Halloween. You want to go through and get scared, you walk through a trail, you'd go to different things that we had built in the woods itself, and you'd walk a mile through this woods. Well, dealing with that for 2 or 3 years with the rain and the snow and the weather, just in October it sucks, and the trails become muddy, and then you can't let people walk through there because they're sliding down a hill or they're going to hit a tree when they're sliding there. You just don't want to deal with the weather anymore. So I went out and searched Zillow, and the old middle school in Brodhead just popped up and it was for sale. And I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, it's just a little bit too expensive for the money that I can actually spend. And I started negotiations with the guy, but something with that picture of that building and then visiting the building kept drawing me back. I had to go keep looking at this building. Something just kept pulling me towards that building. I looked at hundreds of other buildings and had no phase to even want to buy them. But this building kept bringing me back. It's like I'd go to sleep at night, I dream about this building, and I could see the rooms, I could see the vision of what I wanted to build in these rooms, stuff like that. So I started to talk to the owner, and he was getting really anxious that he just wanted to get rid of this building before the taxes hit. He didn't want to pay all the taxes on a building that he couldn't do anything with because the city was against everything that he wanted to do with that building. He wanted to make it a public brewery. He wanted to make it, you know, different things like that. He didn't want to do what the city had envisioned for that building. So when it came down to it, uh, January of 2016, I believe it was, we the December of 2016, sorry, we bought it in 2017 in January. He finally came to me and said, "What would you pay for this building?" And I said, "This is my bottom price. This is the price. I will write you a check tomorrow. this is what I got in the bank. And he says, I'll take it. And
Wow.
he just suddenly jumped and said, okay, it's now my building. I wrote him a check. We worked out with the title company and it was all said and done.
That's
So
amazing.
we brought
Yeah.
we brought the haunted house into the building. We built it. We opened for our first year. We ran 3,500 people through on our first October. That's how many people came to this attraction. And things started happening in that first year we were open that we couldn't understand. I mean, circuits of lights, half of it would shut off, the other half would stay on. Then all of a sudden you'd flip a switch and they'd be backwards. And then you'd be walking away and then the lights started pulsing back and forth. Different parts that go on, different parts that stay on, different parts that go off. It was just going back and forth and back and forth. We had animatronics that move suddenly turn on when they're not supposed to turn on. You're supposed to hit a step pad, but this creature is going up and down and up and down with nothing standing there. It shouldn't be doing that. We had other static props, which are just, they just sit there motionless and they'd suddenly just turn and stare at you. And then they'd turn away. Well, how can you explain that? So I called in Expedition Entity. They were the first ones to ever investigate this building. They did their investigation and they came back to me and they said, don't go by what we say, but invite 5 or 6 other paranormal groups in here and let them experience what you're experiencing and what you have to offer here, because you do have spirits. And I go, okay, fine. Well, we invited in 5 or 6 other groups. They all came back with the same exact evidence as each other, and they didn't associate with each other back then. So they didn't, Expedition Entity didn't know We Are Paranormal, and We Are Paranormal didn't go with this other group, and this other group didn't go with this other group. That's where they all met. And then it started meshing us all together because they wanted to come back. They wanted explanations. They wanted to learn what was happening with my building. There was just so much activity. And the more groups that started coming in, we got more and more activity. Well, during the time of all those different groups coming in, I went and started researching the history of the building. Nobody has ever died in this building. It's just a phenomenon that we can't explain. The way it's been explained to me is people pass on at 80, 90 years old and they go to their happy place in limbo before they go on to the next section of the life, the moving to heaven, moving to hell, whatever your belief is. Or you go up to the creator and be created into another spirit, going by the American Indians, stuff like that. It's when I started learning more of that, I found out that Brodhead itself is truly possessed. I mean, there's so many entities in Brodhead, it's not funny. Going back even more, when they brought the railroad tracks that run through my backyard, the building, when they brought those railroad tracks through, they leveled a total of 7 Indian burial mounds throughout that city. And those Indian burial mounds that were leveled, one is on the corner of my property, and it is deemed I get taxed on a little corner of my property by itself. I can never dig there. I can never, do any construction over there, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's because when the railroad tracks leveled these burial mounds, they just pushed them off into the fields. So if I dig back there, I may discover bones. I have to have the state archaeologists come in and then shut down that entire project so they can actually dig up everything that's in that corner and historically document it. And
Ironically, we had that guy on the show already.
really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, the thing was, I feel I have married into my family the Winnebago tribe. And I've been adopted by the Ho Chunk Nation, the Winnebago Nation, whatever you're not, they're all the same affiliate tribe. I've been adopted into them since I've been a little kid. So I have the American Indian beliefs. I believe in the creator and everything has a spirit and everything is put on this earth to benefit each other in some way, shape, fashion, or form. You know, your grass has a spirit, your trees have a spirit, your bears have a spirit, your wolves have a spirit. Every spirit is here to benefit other spirits. The human nature is the only one that I believe is negative to everything. That's our spirit, and it some people follow the right path, other people follow a different path that just disrupts everything. But that I don't want to go into religion or beliefs or anything like
Okay.
that. It just gets
I
too
was going
deep.
to say I'd argue the point with mosquitoes and wood ticks, but continue.
No, I understand it. They're here to cause pestilence. um, but yeah, we once I discovered we had a burial mound that was leveled in our back, I had it blessed. I had two of the shaman from the Winnebago tribe come down, and they blessed that corner, made their offering with tobacco and the sage and the cedar and the cinnamon and everything that they wanted to bring in their pouch. They blessed that corner and put it to peace. I left it alone. I don't let anybody investigate back there. I want that area to be sacred. There's two trees back there that one of them we planted, the other one was naturally planted there. We nourished that tree, you know, with offerings and stuff like that. Kristina, when you were there the one day, you brought out there and you felt compelled to go to that corner and make an offering.
Mm-hmm.
We do have two elementals in the building that
Yes, you
protect the
do.
land. There
Yes,
is a
you do.
total of 9 throughout the city. Those
Mhm.
9 protect that city, the natural state of that city, and everything that's on that, you know, grounds. If you come into the building and you provoke one of those elementals, I'll tell you right now, they will get you out of that building. They'll get you off the property. They'll make you sick. They'll give you migraines, and not just normal migraines. You'll get a migraine in half your head. The other half will be just spinning normal, and the other half will be a total migraine, and you can't see out of your eye. And everybody says, well, that could just be this or that could just be that. How can it switch in the
Yeah.
I
middle of
used to
it?
actually have those all the time. I used to have migraines that would switch side to side all the
And
time. Yeah.
they say, I've had different people tell me it's your elementals laughing at them because they're really affecting them. Call us out. I dare you. So that's where we progressed in. And then I would let people go out in the parking lot with their SB7s and their Ovilus and their different things. And we started picking up the Winnebago language on those SB7s. Nobody could understand what they were saying, but just the emphasis on the words that were being said and how they were being said was just like the elders of our tribe would put the emphasis on the beginning of the word and then slur off to the back end of the word, or put the emphasis in the middle of the word, you know, like hudada, you know, like that. It's you learn that. It's just instilled in my brain. And I said, that's the Winnebago language. And they're like, oh, no, it's not. It's just garble. They had it translated and it said protection, peace. Um, they had other different things, tribal land, just different things that were coming across that the Indians were trying to tell us that they are at peace. Leave them alone. Don't disturb, you know, stuff like that, which makes me feel proud that I have actually secured a spot where they're not going to be bothered. You know, it keeps me at peace as long as they're at peace.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
something I've never experienced up until now. And now when I leave that building calls to me. If something is going on at that building when I'm not there, I'll suddenly get an urge to jump in my car and I got to get up there. I get up there, I find a police officer standing in the back arresting a kid that was trying to break into the building. And they were just getting ready to call me to let me know what to do with those kids. And I'm like, how can you just feel that? There is an attachment
Exactly.
to that building.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
when
you
I was
definitely
buying
have a
it,
connection.
yeah, when I bought the building, I was pulled to that building. I had to buy that building. It was by hook or by crook. I was going to own that building, you know, because there was 2 other people that came in right at the time he was accepting my offer, that said they were coming in lowballing my price, but they really wanted to buy the building also for other uses. And I'm like, no, 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 I will outbid them and I will get this building. And the guy said, no, you've been negotiating with me for 4 months. I'll take your word on it. You want this building. And he gave it to me.
Nice.
So,
Nice. I know I have had personal experience there, obviously,
yes.
with the native spirits in the back corner, where I actually went, and before I finalized Logan's celebration of life, I went back there with tobacco
Yes.
and talked to the spirits, and um, I asked their permission to hold it there.
Yeah.
Because even though we are native, and he has native on both sides, my side and his dad's side, um, but not Winnebago. Like, we're from completely different tribes.
Yes. Yes.
And they told me, yes, we will receive him. We will take care of him. You can have your celebration here. You know, they laid down some of the rules. And I remember when we were planning it, and my friend was with me, and she was talking about setting up alcohol, and we're like, nope, mead only. That's the only alcohol allowed, and it's only for the toast.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Because that was one of their rules. And I explained to them the mead, you know, that he enjoyed mead, and I wanted to incorporate that. And that's when they said, that only,
Yep.
no other. So, I mean, that whole celebration was very much set up based on what those native spirits told me when I asked permission to have it there,
Yes.
which was pretty cool because they were very open to talking with me.
Yes. They were.
So,
That,
yeah,
and there's been other people out there that they just don't. I don't want to put it as they don't like them. They don't want them there.
yeah,
And those people somehow magically get ill when they're in the building and really have to leave. And I can't explain it. I'm not going to try to explain it, but I have my beliefs that they don't want them there. Make them ill. They'll run away. Let them go.
right,
And then they won't want to
right.
come back because they get violently ill. They don't just get a stomach ache. They start physically throwing up. They
Hmm.
do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
So it's hard to explain everything that happens with my building. The building itself, half of it was built in 1906, half of it was built in 1939. But what people don't understand is before that building was built, there was an 1865 building that sat on the 1906 half. The original limestone foundation of that 1865 building is holding up the 1906 half of the building.
oh, I didn't realize that.
Interesting.
If you go down into our crawl space, there is a crawl
No
space under
thanks.
part of the building.
No
I'll
thank
go.
you. I
Please,
pass.
please,
If you
please.
if you actually go down there, you will see the original oak floor joists that held up the 1865 building, that they poured concrete in between all those floor joists to preserve them. So there, the 1865 building is there in spirit. There was a major fire in that 1865 building where 7 or 8 kids got burned. And through different devices and different paranormal groups that have been through, they're talking about the kids' injuries. They touched a wall and it was embers and it burned their hands and it burned you know, burned the side of their face when they got too close to it. Different things like that. And I never knew that history until I went down to the historical society and they said, oh yeah, we'll pull up those records. They pulled up the records and I read through it and I'm like, yeah, 7 kids were badly injured in the building. Nobody died. Nobody's ever died in the building. And it just, those residuals come through all the time, burnt, smoke, soot, char, all different kinds of words come through the obelisk and different stuff like that. They're letting us know that they were burnt in that building, you know. So they all survived. They all lived great lives after that. It was just they had to tear down the building because of structural damage and rebuilt the new 1906 half of the building. Another thing is that limestone foundation sits on top of, directly on top of the limestone bedrock that's underneath our building. So we have more limestone than you know what to do with.
And in my opinion, that's probably why you have some of the activity you do, because limestone holds that energy.
Yes, it does.
And so therefore you have that. Now you put in the burial mounds on top of the prop that you have on the property. That's almost like that perfect storm for to have what you're having down there.
Now you want to go even further into the research that I've done on the building.
Yes, go.
There is the railroad tracks that everybody sees behind our building that is adjacent to our property. You know, our property backs up to those railroad tracks. Those railroad tracks, 4 blocks to our east, is Greenwood Cemetery. There's 1,000 or more people buried in that cemetery. Every single one of them went to that school that is buried in that cemetery. And we're getting a lot of names in our building that correlate to the gravestones that are in that cemetery. They're coming down by rail systems.
That makes sense.
They're following
that makes sense.
They're following the iron line down. And then I just spoke with, I wish I could remember his name. I'm really bad with names. I'm sorry. A guy out in New Jersey was studying the ley lines in Wisconsin and found out we're 7 feet from a major ley line. The building itself proper is 7 feet off that ley line.
That makes sense too.
When he drew the straight line, we were right on it. The whole center of downtown Brodhead is on that ley line. Every building in downtown Brodhead is haunted, if you want to call it that.
Right.
It's occupied by spirits.
Yes.
The Opera House, the old bank of Brodhead. There's several buildings down there, like the ones the bars are in right now. The bartenders will say, yeah, when we close down at night, all of a sudden beer bottles will come falling off the shelf. You know, all the empty beer bottles, you'll hear them smashing in the floor and they'll be all over the place. And then boom, they walk down there, nothing's been disturbed. But they hear it constantly. And it's only when they close the doors. It's like somebody's pissed off down there that you closed up that bar. Nobody can get alcohol. That's how they explain it. So we are partnering up possibly this year for different tours where you'll get 2 hours in 4 different buildings downtown for one price, or a joint price. If you want to go 8 hours downtown, we'll give you another 8 hours at Brodhead Manor. So you'll get 16 hours of investigation. And I think it was going to be for $90, I think it was, for a 16-hour investigation per person of 5 different locations.
Wow. That's really inexpensive. I mean, I've seen some of the prices that these groups are charging, and don't even get me started on that. But
I don't agree with it.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be really interesting. And I haven't been in a lot of the buildings in downtown Brodhead. Ironically, the 2 I've been in have been bars, because that's where the food is.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are bar restaurants. So, both of them. Both of the buildings I've been in definitely felt a lot of stuff going on in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the town itself is not accepting to what we're doing with the paranormal world and all that stuff. They're highly religious around there, and they don't believe what we're doing is right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them are realizing that, believe it or not, in the paranormal field, there's a lot of religion transcribed throughout this whole thing. We want answers. We want to learn. We want to know more about if there is an afterlife, if there's not an afterlife, what this residual energy is. What is it? Residual? Is it intelligent? Is it tangible? I can tell you right now, my spirits learn every day.
Yes, they do.
If you teach them a device, they will learn how to play with it, and they'll manipulate it to shut itself off. because they don't like playing with the devices.
Yeah,
There,
as my friend Rez has said, stupid human tricks.
yes,
Yep.
exactly. It is
Hmm.
stupid human trick. Like I tell every group that comes through my building, please, 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 please don't go. What's your name? How old are you? When were you here? You don't ask questions like that. They hear it every day. What's your name? What's your name? It gets boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come in. I love the people that come in. They'll use a chalkboard that's on the wall because it is an old school. They'll use one of our old chalkboards and they'll take the chalk I leave there and they'll write down why a person's under Estes looking away from the chalkboard. They're not even looking at the chalkboard. You say nothing and you write 4 minus 3 equals and then tap the board. The person in Estes will tell you it's 1. Or we've went as far as what's 20 plus 14. And the person under Estes, who we're not even saying what we're doing, we're just writing it down, they'll say 34.
Right. And
Right.
just to be clear, because not everyone maybe who's listening to this will know what Estes is.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I just wanted to explain that Estes is when you have one investigator who blocks out sound and vision. So
Yep.
all they're hearing is like a background of static, if I
Yes.
understand it
Yes.
correctly.
It's
And
the C7
Static,
is
radio waves, you
right.
know,
And
you
they're
have noise canceling headphones and a bandana on or something to cover the eyes. And
something to cover the eyes. Yeah.
it's,
you're sensory deprived.
yep.
Right. But the other investigator is asking questions.
Yes.
It's just that the one with the noise canceling headphones and the eye covering doesn't know what's being asked. They're just receiving the answers.
They receive the answers through the static of the white noise.
Yes.
What they perceive as words, they just automatically speak them out.
Right.
So you'll get random words left and right here and there, that they're hearing where the spirit world is trying to go through that static noise to make themselves present. They will actually, a lot of people say, I don't know how to put this. A lot of people say that when you do the Estes method, it's just, oh, that's just a person blurting out words. No, I've had too many instances where I have had my spirits tell me, like our spirit Norman, he came through in an Estes with Ethan Kumarad. We all have it on, we have it fully on video where he said he was there. We asked him, why are you here? And he said, to heal you. I said, to heal who? He said, you, Bill. And I go, okay. I didn't know I was sick. I didn't know anything was wrong with me. And he's like, I'm here to heal you. You're sick. And Ethan knows me, but he wouldn't know I didn't tell anybody that, my back was hurt at that point. We didn't know that I went in and got an MRI and I had the tumor on my kidney.
Right.
And Norman kept saying through other people's estices and through other people's devices, even the Ovilus had come up to heal Bill here now. And Norman's specific purpose, he went to school there. We found that out. He was a bullied child that was there. He was there to heal me. And I'm like, no, you're not. I'm fine. I'm not sick. And I got the MRI done. That's when we found out about the tumor. And then everything went into a spiral. And when they removed the tumor, they couldn't understand why it just fell off my kidney, roots and all. They didn't have to laser it out. They didn't have to cut it out. They didn't have, she said it fell right into the bag. We looked over your kidney with a microscope. There's nothing left. It's gone off your kidney. So they stitched my kidney back up. The holes that were left came out, brought it out, found out it was stage 4 cancer. And they said, yes, if it would have exploded, you would have been probably gone within 3 months. It was a highly aggressive form of cancer. Well, then fast forward a little bit, just in November, I had 5 different groups come up to me and tell me that Norman said, you're healed. He's going. He can go
Wow.
now. I'm like, these people didn't know anything about that. Why would they suddenly come up and tell me you're healed now? Norman wants us to let you know that. And he's going to be back, but he doesn't have to come as often now. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, now this, if it came from one group, I'd be like, okay, people have heard a podcast or people have heard something and they're just saying it. But 5 different groups told me this
Right.
session, you know, to make me want to really truly believe that my spirits are here to help me, you know.
Well, it's a symbiotic relationship because you're very protective of them.
Oh yes, I'm very protective.
You're very protective of them. And so, it's a symbiotic relationship. So,
Correct.
you take care of them, they take care of you. That's the way it works.
Yes. And I, before I bought this building, I'll tell you the truth, I didn't believe in the ghost teams that were on TV. I didn't believe in all the ghost everything. I was a total skeptic. I could call out anything that you wanted to try to tell me. Too many things have happened that I cannot explain and that I've seen that I can't unsee, you know, and I can't explain half the stuff. So there's something else there. That's like with your son Logan. I know he's still around. You know, his name has come through our spirit boxes a lot. And when I talk with my dowsing rods and ask questions, Logan's there.
Yeah, he loves it there. He always did. I mean, from the first time, and he only went there a week before he passed.
Yes, I only met him once, but it was like he was one of my kids that I took into the building. He wanted to be there. He had so much energy with it that he wanted to be there to help. He wanted to help me manage. He wanted to help me do this. He wanted to help me decorate. And there were so many things he wanted to do. And then all of a sudden you called me and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And then anything I could do for you was my heartfelt mission.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. It was, he really loved that building, and he, like, after he met with you, that's all I heard about.
Yeah.
Was Bill. Like, Bill is the coolest guy. Bill does this, Bill does that. Bill has this really cool building. I was talking to Bill about this, and it was just, yeah, it was a very weird happening for that he passed like so quickly.
That fast. I mean, it
That
was
fast. Yeah.
I talked to him the day before and I said, I really can't talk right now because I have to go down to Missouri to visit my mom. But I will call you when I get there and we'll discuss some more. And then when I saw a Wisconsin number come up on my phone and it was you, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
That's when it hit me that before you ever said anything, I knew something happened.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, okay. It was like, I don't know if you want to say that. I don't know if I want to say this, but I think he was telling me, mom's telling you, I'm gone. You know, and
Yeah.
just it hit me hard.
Yep.
This is only a person I met basically once in an interview and once in person.
Right.
He affected me that much.
That's how he was.
He was one of my new kids. You know, that's how it is. He was one of my new kids.
Yeah. And Rez is right. That's how he was. He affected a lot of people. Did you see how many people were there?
Yes. No,
I didn't know. I didn't know most of those people.
I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
I knew the people in the paranormal world that came. And then there was, I would say, double that in friends, his friends that showed. And then another step up is all your family that showed.
Right. And all of his dad's family that showed. That's really what surprised me. There was a lot of his dad's family there.
Okay.
And I hadn't seen them in 30 years. I didn't even recognize them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But to have, for your viewers, our gym size-wise is 88 feet long by 64 feet wide. The prayer circle was double deep the entire size of the gym. We had to move the tables out of the way to make that prayer circle. There were that many people in that room.
Right. Because Logan touched so many people in his life.
Yes.
Yeah. It was pretty amazing.
And I was so emotional, I had to sit up on stage so nobody saw me crying.
Well, why not, Bill? The rest of us were crying too.
I know.
But, it's really interesting because I feel like Logan probably found a home there on a couple of different levels. First of all, he connected with you. But second of all, I feel like he really connected with the elders there and
Yes.
the native spirits there, because he was all about that.
Yes.
I mean, there were mutts. I mean, both sides of the family were mutts, but mixed into that mutt mixture is different native tribes
Yes.
on each side, and that was the part that he really embraced and went with. And well, he certainly looked the part for sure. But um, that was where his spirit was. That was where he felt
Right.
everything. And so I feel like he has kind of joined your band of merry spirits and probably loves messing with the investigators.
Oh yes, he loved it
Yeah.
all. He
Yeah.
What him and I talked about a lot was the haunted house
Mm-hmm.
and how to scare people. That was He's like, man, if I was working in this room, I'd be doing this. I'd be hiding in this corner, or I'd be over here, and I'd be doing this, and I just jump out at you. So I know with his attachment to that haunted house aspect, he is there to push us forward to get the right things that people need, that
Right.
energy that people want during that season.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he
We
was kind of an imposing force anyway, physically.
Yes, yes.
Like, he was a big dude,
Yeah.
and with the long hair and the beard and the whole thing,
Yep.
So, yeah, he was kind of an imposing force anyway, but he definitely had the energy to back that up,
To
and
me,
he
he was
still
total
does.
fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He brought back things that I haven't really talked about in 30, 40 years. I used to play D&D all the time. So we started on what the old D&D is to the new D&D. Then we started talking about Magic the Gathering, the card game and stuff like that. And he's like, "Oh my God, I know this and this and that. I can't believe you know all this stuff." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm an old nerd."
Yeah. And I didn't even mean to take this in that direction necessarily,
Right.
but it really exemplifies the spirit in your building, and it really exemplifies the energy of your building. And um, when I went and talked to the elders and said, "He's yours."
Yeah. Bill's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. But they
Yeah.
embraced him and they made him part of them.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Speaking of Bill's nuts, we went off. Wait to see our new product line for Brodhead Manor at Spirits in the Spring and at the
Yeah.
metaphysical event that she's having July 20th.
Yes, the Moonbow Metaphysical Expo, July 20th. Yeah, featuring Bill's nuts. It's right there on the flyer.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that'll
Come
be the
sample
first
them.
time.
Come sample them. They're salty, tasty, chewy, sweet, and sometimes they explode in your mouth.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the first time I get to come down this year to hang out with you guys is for the metaphysical event. And,
You're welcome
I
to come down anytime after March 1st. I'll be there every single weekend. Just pop in, say hi, do what you want to do. If you get in the
all
area,
right.
you're
I'll give
welcome
you a
there
heads up. I know when I came down for Spirits in the Spring last year, as soon as I stepped out of my car, I could just feel the different energies.
anytime. Yes.
And I feel there's, some of them elders there, they want to talk, but they're not willing to talk to everyone.
No.
No, they're not.
They're going to be very selective on who they talk to.
The only
And
the only ones that I've really had make a connection with them would be Kristina and Diet Renee. She she spoke to him last time she was there, and she's like, "Oh my God, there's so much knowledge here. It's not funny."
Yeah, there really is. Yeah.
They know more than all of us.
yeah,
It just blows my mind. It sounds weird to me to say stuff like that, but that's what goes through my head is
yeah,
look at how much knowledge and time and all the different things they've seen throughout the years, and
Mhm.
yeah,
they're there and we can learn from them, but nobody wants to tap into the learning aspect. They want to just prove that they're there and leave.
Yeah,
That doesn't make
that's
sense to me.
I
Sorry,
don't want to
that's
sit and talk with them, and they
that's
don't
the
want
difference between a ghost hunter and a paranormal research team.
yes,
And I rather do the research,
correct.
you know,
mm-hmm.
I do the
interact with
research
them,
constantly.
hear their stories, help them when you can, and actually do something instead of just going, "Oh, I seen a ghost. Okay, I'm cool."
Yeah,
That doesn't do it for me.
Mm-mm.
no, it you don't know how many times I've sat in that building alone and just tell me what you want to tell me. Just get it through to me somehow. And then I'll start picturing things in my brain that I would have never ever thought about. And it's
Yeah,
just really weird. And then I have Kristina and Diet. Oh, you've got abilities. Yeah, I do have abilities, but I tune most of them off because if I go through that building 90% of the time, I have to shut down. They'll drive me nuts.
I can
They
understand that. They've driven me nuts.
they all want your attention. They want to communicate.
Right. Well, and they're all little kids for the most part. So,
Mhm.
correct.
they don't just want attention. They want constant, nonstop, pay attention to me. I want a snack. I want something to drink. Play with my toy. I'm going to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and I'm not going to make any sense, but you're going to listen to me.
Right. And that's what it
Yep.
is.
And when you have 7 or 8 of them doing that all at once, it does become overwhelming. You have to just kind of go, ooh, all right, put up a
My
little bit of
brain
a,
has to shut it out.
yeah.
As I walk down the hallways and they're knocking on the doors as I'm walking by them, I'm like, okay, I know you're there. I know you're there. I know you're there. I know you're there. Okay. Now, everybody do your homework and we'll talk later. I'll go turn the music on and I'll let you dance all over the gym that you want to dance in. And I'll set certain times and certain boundaries so they know
Mm-hmm.
this is my time, this is their time.
Yep.
Yep.
And they respect me as much as I respect them. So I stick to those times. You
Yeah.
know, their
I
big
was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
their big thing at that building is our stage with our sound system we have. Turn the music on and turn it up loud. And hopefully it's Mary Poppins or they like anything from heavy metal all the way down to classical and all the kids' songs in between.
Mm-hmm.
You
We'll
know,
fit in just fine down there. I can deal with all that whole range.
right. Well, the funny thing is when you set up and I know a lot of people don't believe in the SLS cameras because there's too many things that can be mapped out and this and that, whatnot. When you set a stationary SLS camera on a table, aim it down the floor of the gym to the stage, and there's no music playing, you see nothing. Turn the music on, and all of a sudden you see five stick figures appear, and they're all going in circles, dancing around with each other. Turn the music off, they all disappear. They're doing their own things.
Mm-hmm.
They love to dance, they love to play with the music. They feed off the energy of that music.
Oh, yeah, they sure do. I was
And
doing a reading for somebody in that building when we had I think it was I think it was the Paracon. I think it was the Spirits in the Spring last year.
or was
I
it the
was,
fundraiser?
no, I was on the second floor doing a reading in the gift shop.
Okay, that
And
was Spirits in the Spring.
yeah, yeah. And this, our little girl Elizabeth there, she she started messing with the reading, and I'm like, girl, no, don't you dare. And I had to back her off. I'm like, no, no, you can't convince me that you are this person's anything
Right.
because there's no connection there. But she was trying.
She wanted attention.
She wanted attention. Yep,
Yep.
exactly. The
Well, that's like
spirits there are fun to play with, though.
they are.
Yeah.
And everybody says, "Oh, you have evil in the building." Well, that's my janitor and that's my principal. They're grouchy old men.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
not evil. They're just grouchy old
No, they're
men.
just grouchy old men.
Yeah.
Grouchy old men. They don't want to talk. They don't want to. They'll only talk with other men, that
Mhm.
have their stature and their aggression and stuff like that. Sometimes lately they've been warming up to the women, which is really blowing my mind that they are being nice to them. But because back in their day, women were seen and not heard.
Mhm.
Same
That's
with kids.
kids were the same thing. And now another thing, our janitor is letting the kids come back into his office. And
Really?
when they come down to his office, they've when they've caught the kids on different devices down in there, they ask him, well, what are you doing? Cleaning erasers, doing stuff like that. I'm like, okay, the janitor used to let me, when I was a kid, come in and help him clean erasers because it was a neat machine to watch it do it, you know? And I'm like, okay, maybe he's teaching them skills. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
No.
So that's why he's lightened up a little bit.
Yeah.
But, you know, all these different people that come in, and like Diet walked in she walked in for the first time for Spirits in the Spring also. And she said, she grabbed me by the shoulder and she goes, Bill, you need to come upstairs. And I started walking upstairs with her. She says, you have to show me the fourth floor. I go, we don't have a fourth floor. She's like, yeah, you do. I said, I know we do. We have up on the roof a separate room that's just the janitor's room. And Diet
Okay.
led me right to the room and pointed it out to me. And she's like, look up in the ceiling up there. Right there is that room. And the janitor wants me to come in there and just talk with him. I'm like, no. And she's like, well, there is a room up there. I said, yeah, there's a room up there. You can only access it from the roof. And I'm not taking you up on the roof to get over to that room. And she's like, oh, no, no, I wasn't asking you to take me up there now. We'll do it a later time. But yeah, how she pointed that out to me immediately just showed me there is something here, you know?
Yep. And they're talking.
Yeah. So we've learned so much with our building. It's not funny.
Yeah.
And I respect it just as much as it respects me. If they disrespect me, I will disrespect them back a little bit, but I've got to show them that I own that building. I'm going to
Yes.
remain there. If I don't
Yeah.
show that power, they're going to overwhelm me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm the
You
Yep.
got to
dad
take
there.
ownership of your space.
Yes, I'm the dad there. You guys are still all my kids, even the janitor and the principal. I can kick them out.
Hmm.
You just worked here. I live here.
Yeah. This is my home. Yeah, that's I'm really looking forward to getting back in the building, back connecting with you guys. It's been a while.
Yes.
Um, yeah, the event in July, July 20th, is going to be like this huge metaphysical fair with vendors of all kinds of different readers and healers, and it's just going to be a huge event. And we've already got 45 vendors signed up, and there's room for 20 more. So I'm super excited about it.
It'll be a tight fit with the 20 more, but I can make it work.
Yeah. Well, if we need to go lower, let me know. I'll put a different cutoff on it. But
No, no, no.
within an hour of posting it in the middle of the night, I had 12 vendors in an hour
Right.
because everybody wants to go to Brodhead Manor.
Yes. And I've had a lot of the new and up and coming groups, that are just learning and just whatnot. My building's safe for that. There's
Hmm.
nothing
Yeah.
evil in the building. The building is safe for newbies, as you want to call them. Um, I love to have people come in and learn there. I don't know that much about the paranormal world. I don't know that, I learn from all of you coming into the building.
Hmm.
Then I do more research. Then I come back to you guys, and then I go back, do more research. And then I go back to learn all the different aspects of it.
Yeah.
I'm not a paranormal investigator. I don't claim to be a paranormal investigator. But by learning from all these different groups, I'm a collaboration of all of you.
Hmm.
My knowledge is a collaboration, not just your personal opinions.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm gaining more and more knowledge about this. I'm not saying that I know everything about it. No, nobody ever know about everything about this.
No.
You know, I got thrown for a loop the other day when somebody asked during an Estes session, somebody asked, how do you see us? With our eyes. And I said, what color are your eyes? And they said white. And then Will, the other guy that was in the room, he goes, how do you see us? And they go, digitally, X's and O's. That's our binary language.
Hmm.
Now I'm thinking, okay, do they see us like a matrix?
Well,
You know,
we are, aren't we?
is the veil a matrix? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
The veil that separates us.
right.
That's a new way to think. Now,
Hmm.
it could be that way. We don't see them because we haven't physically in our brain learned to read the binary codes
Right.
that are forced in front of us. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So how do we see through that veil if we can't see through the X's and O's? You know what I mean? Or the ones and zeros, however they put it.
Yeah.
Um, it's a new way to think about it. Now I want to research that.
That is a deep rabbit hole, my friend. Have fun.
Yes,
No,
it is.
That is a very deep rabbit hole to jump
but
down.
to have a spirit actually tell us that,
Hmm.
that's something you might want to look into. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I
Let's
mean,
get it,
Yeah.
let's get into your level. And then we found out the spirit we were talking to was the science teacher.
well, that makes sense.
Yep.
that
So
that
now
makes total sense.
it really gets me going. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It was the old Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott we were in his science room when he came through.
Nice.
Interesting.
So he said his name and everything. And what blew my mind was I knew nothing of Mr. Scott except a story that one of the janitors said, yeah, Mr. Scott was up on the third floor in this room. It was a science room, and the room below it was a history teacher. And they had a rope system outside with pulleys that they used to send notes down in a bucket out the window to each other during classes as a joke to the kids. Mr. Scott called that out during an Estes session.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And having the janitor back that up, okay, now it's true. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And the people that were doing the Estes session knew nothing about the building. They didn't
Right.
know the teachers. They didn't research the history on the different classes, and they didn't know what room they were in. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it just puts more emphasis on what, they're intelligent. They're not just wisps in the wind and residual energy.
Right.
It's not playing over and over and over. It's different reactions in different rooms at all times.
Yep. It's intelligent.
So
Yeah, absolutely. I am really excited about getting back to Brodhead Manor, and I'm really excited to get a bill hug because I haven't had a bill hug in a long time. Could really use one.
everybody needs a bill hug, from what you're told.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Um, so Bill, if someone wants to contact you after the first of the year, well,
Yes, after the first of the year.
this will actually air after the first of the year. So
Okay.
yeah, this
Yep.
airs on January 4th. So
Okay.
um,
If
if people want to contact you to set up an investigation or talk to you about an event, how do they get a hold of you?
you can reach us at Brodhead Manor at Facebook. That's we only use Facebook. We do not use TikTok or Twitter or any of those yet. I'm a dumb old man. I don't want to learn all that new stuff. Um, we are trying to get a social media advisor to help us.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We're
Hmm.
looking into some of the local kids that know this stuff. I'd rather help out one of the local neighborhood kids with paying them and stuff like that to help us out rather
Okay.
than have a professional come in that knows all this stuff and ask for tons and tons of money we don't have.
Right.
So everybody knows any investigation you do at our building or any event you throw at our building or different things that we do, all the money and all the proceeds goes right back into our building. We do not use it for profit. Our building is it, we're not a nonprofit organization, but we're not the type of people that use it for personal gain. We don't go on vacation. We don't. I've been on vacation in 20 years. So, we don't use it for that. We use everything to restore back our building to its glory. And Kristina, you know that.
Yeah. Oh, I know that.
Yep.
I know that. Yeah, it's a beautiful building.
um, if you want to set up an investigation, anything like that, you can message us at Brodhead Manor. I usually respond within 10 to 15 minutes max every time I get a message. Um, unless it's something majors up that I can't get to you right away, but I will message you back. You can call, schedule, and book investigations. You can invest. We can discuss if you want to host an event at the building, or if you want to host a small party or anything like that. We have plenty of space in that building to do a lot of things. Plus our haunted
Yes.
house, and plus the horror museum and the escape rooms and different things like that that we're going to be doing soon this summer.
Awesome.
So yeah, just message me, Bill Wolter at Brodhead Manor, or just message the Brodhead Manor site. Friend me on Facebook. Like and follow our page. Just helps us out a little bit more. Come on out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool place. You will love it, especially if you're into the older buildings. It's not a restored building completely yet. So, you walk in and it's an old school, and
Yep.
it looks like an old school. I mean, I haven't been there in a while, but I know that when I walk into a gym, it still looks like a gym with a stage at one end, and you
The
know,
old creaky floor.
the old creaky floor, and
Yeah.
it's the feeling in there is really delightful. I love it. I mean, it has a creep factor to it, don't get me wrong, but it's really the spirits in there are delightful, and I really just enjoy being there. It's so comfortable.
If you bring in positive energy, the positive energy of the spirits will come out in full force.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
you come in negative, I guarantee you they're going to walk you right out that building.
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
Yes, they will. There's like a filter on that building where if you manage to get through it with negative energy, they're going to show it you right back through that door.
Yes.
So, yeah, absolutely.
And that's our protector spirits. That's our elementals.
Hmm.
They will point you out in a second.
Yes, I had to go to the elementals to ask permission to use the building too, not just the elders, but the
Right.
elementals.
Right.
And so that was two separate conversations I had to have even have an event there. So, you know, it's pretty, it is well protected. We'll just put it that way. It's well
Yes.
protected.
Plus, we
Yes.
get the building cleansed once every 3 to 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
They bless the building, they cleanse it. We have crystals at every corner. We have selenium up and down the center stairwells
Mm-hmm.
and elevator shaft. We have selenium down that now. Um, we want the building to stay positive,
Yes.
and I want to protect them as much as I can.
Which is amazing. So, yeah, we got some pretty cool stuff coming up. January 1st and 2nd is Spirits in the Spring. It's a paranormal
June,
June.
June 1st and
June,
2nd.
June 1st and 2nd, sorry. June 1st and 2nd, it's a paranormal conference. And so, there'll be a lot of people there talking about the paranormal. You can probably check out some types of equipment, talk to paranormal investigators. We're going to have some vendors there, I understand, as well.
We'll have 45 to 50 vendors. We will have, there is going to be offered by Brodhead Manor a private ghost hunt, both Saturday and Sunday nights,
Okay.
for an added charge, but it's Brodhead Manor sponsors that,
Mm-hmm.
not the sponsors of the Paracon. We are going to have tours of the building all day. You can, during the actual Paracon, you're only going to be limited to a certain area of the building. If you want a private tour of the entire building, we will be offering a tour once an hour around the entire building. You'll be able to see the horror museum, the torture chambers, the old boiler rooms, all the old classrooms, everything we're doing with the building and how we're restoring it. If you're into the paranormal stuff, you'll be able to walk through and speak with our spirits. They'll come out and talk to you, especially if I'm around. If I'm around, they're just chatty Cathy's.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are.
um,
And I know I'll be there for that, so that'll be fun.
yes.
Get to hang out with all of you again.
There's going to be so many different things. We have speakers, we have different private reading groups, we have mirror scrying classes, we have there's going to be private readings with Patty Negri and all them, the Hollywood Witch and
Yeah.
her entourage.
I'll be doing readings there as well, and I will be speaking
Yes.
as well. So, yeah, there will be a bunch of us there. So it'll be awesome. It'll be a lot of fun.
We had a blast last year,
Yep.
and one thing about our building is it brings everybody together. So far, out of the 7 events that we've done, major events, there's been no arguments afterwards, no arguments during.
That's nice.
Brings everybody together, and everybody's just feels at home and at peace and calm at the building.
Hmm.
If you want to do that stuff, go do it elsewhere. Don't do it there.
Yeah,
And
Right.
yeah. Well, the spirits there are not really fond of drama anyway, so
correct.
they'll chase you right out of the building anyway. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they like that you're in their playhouse. You better be nice about it. That's kind of the way it works.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, I want to thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us today. I'm really excited about getting back to Brodhead. It, I lived in Beloit and Janesville for years, never went to Brodhead, never had a reason to, but now I have a reason to, so
Yeah.
I go. So, yeah, we'll be, I'm sure that before Spirits in the Spring, we'll be having you and Nick on to talk
Okay.
about it and share information about it. And in the meantime, it was a pleasure talking to you, sir. Rez, do you have
Pleasure
any
talking to
final
you both.
words?
It's been a blast, Bill. I look forward to getting to hang out with you more this spring and summer.
I hope so.
Far as the building itself, for any of you that can appreciate the older architecture that might not be into the paranormal, swing by and check it out just for the architecture. The place is beautiful,
Yeah.
and if you want to keep up anything I'm doing, hop on over to Wisconsin Caps YouTube channel. We have a bunch of new stuff coming out. And other than that, be kind, be safe. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel here, and it really does help.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Hit that bell, hit the subscribe button. Check out our other episodes that we have on YouTube and soon to be. We have one episode on a podcast, and I'm working on the technical aspect of getting the rest of them out there. So we'll be up on podcasting everywhere pretty soon.
Cool.
If you wanted to make an appointment with me, you can reach me at psychiccristina67@gmail.com, or you can go on to my Facebook group page, which is Christina Bloom, and then a dash, and then your spiritual advisor. And you can reach me there. So that's for private appointments and also for group appointments. So, I do in-home parties and that sort of thing. So gallery readings and such. So there's all of that too. And I've got a couple of events coming up with my other business. I've got the Moonbow Metaphysical Expo coming up Easter weekend, actually, in upstate New York at Hotel Saranac again in Saranac Lake, and then at Brodhead Manor, July 20th. So looking forward to both of those expos coming up. And in the meantime, be good to each other, be good to yourself, and have a beautiful day.